What's up, guys? Scythe here. I just wanted to make a short video about a little bit of rotation, a little bit of stats, how you want to reforge your gear. Basically, this is all off of my personal opinion, how the class should be played and how the stats work. A lot of people may disagree with me, but it's just my playstyle. So you either like it or you hate it. Basically, you're going to want to get your 5% hit, so your specials are guaranteed to go off. Your mischance for level 85 target, 0. So you're looking at right at that 5%. I'm a little over, just how the reforging came out. There's nothing I can really do about that. Other than that, you're going to be wanting to stack and reforge mastery as long as you have that 5% hit cap. You can see I'm pretty much stacking anything that has a resilience in the socket bonus I'm getting. Given how squishy DKs are now with 4.2, and if you're running any kind of arena, you can get away with it running RBGs, or if you're just doing randoms goofing off. But if you're doing any kind of arenas, you need the maximum amount of resilience you can get. I am slacking a little bit because I'm running the this Firelands trinket, but the bonus that you get off of this trinket, is basically amazing because it gives you the mastery 508 per charge that you have. So that's just ridiculous. You have to give up the resilience for it. So basically, I'm sitting at 41% reduction against damage against other players. It's basically full ruthlessness, but like I said, you want your hit's your number one priority. Then you're going to be stacking mastery, and then you're going to be gymming basically 40 resil in slots and your yellow slots, and you're going to be gymming in your other slots 20 strength, 20 resilience. I have jewel crafting, so I do have 67 resilience. Most people are going to run 67 strength. They're not going to worry about the resilience, but I have this set up for in certain situations in arena. I can do without this trinket and boost my resilience to 44. So, like I said, it's just my playstyle. You don't have to gym exactly like I do, but you're getting the gist. Basically, you're reforging your haste into mastery, because mastery now increases your frost damage. This is basically all of your attacks. You have frost strike, which is frost damage. You have your obliterate, you have howling blast, chains of ice. Basically all your primary attacks are now frost damage. Alright, I'm going to show you a few basic macros that I have going on. Alright, this is basically my one-shot macro for Death Knight. I mean, it's not a given one shot, but it definitely, you will down a target in just a few seconds after popping this. It's basically just popping all your cooldowns. Some people don't put this blood tap in there, but I'll give you an instance that you would need to use this. Okay, so you have all my death runes on cooldown sometimes, so you get a lockout actually on your Pillar of Frost. So basically, that blood tap will so you can get your one-shot macro off. It's not necessary. You can be patient and wait for another death rune to come around, but I found out it makes it much easier just having that blood tap in there, so you always, anytime you ever hit that, it's going to go off. I have a use of a potion in there, which is the 1200 strength. You're not going to be able to use that in arenas, so it doesn't really matter though. Then I have Pillar of Frost, which is the 20% increased strength. Then I have my Gladiator Trinket, which is going to grant me another 2000 strength. And then I have my Firelands Trinket, which is going to increase my mastery by over 1500. And I'll just give a quick example of the one-shot macro. Let's see if we can get some good numbers to go off.
I don't have a target. That ability isn't ready.
On a winner going.
Not ready yet.
With how the Firelands trinket works, is you have to have 5 stacks of this. So you're basically, there is some setup time to this macro, you know,
Can't do that yet. I need to target something first.
getting it to go off.
That ability isn't ready yet. I can't do that yet.
And I'm actually finding a lot of the times that dual wielding, if you're way more into the burst, dual wielding is going to give you the more procs of your killing machine, which is in turn going to give you 5 stacks of this buff much faster. And a lot of people say, no, two-handed, you know, more bursty, bigger numbers. That's not really the case with this macro, because when you get onto a fresh target and you want those stacks to pop up fast, dual wielding is going to give you way more damage, because you're going to get those 5 stacks and pop that trinket, and then in turn give a huge boost in damage, which this, you can tell, I still haven't gotten 5 stacks. I'm not going crazy here though. Alright, so now I have 5 stacks. Gonna wait for my outbreak to come up. Alright, popping cooldowns. Let's see a 41k hit there. Another 40k.
That's still recharging. I need to target something first.
39.
That ability isn't ready yet. I can't do that yet. That ability isn't ready yet. I can't do that yet. Not ready.
42. And your cooldowns are off. So basically, that should one-shot a DPS. You know, there is mitigation and stuff, and so you may not get that high of numbers against other players, but it still gives you a good idea of how that macro works. But like I said, the two-hander, you know, you're going to get bigger numbers, which when that macro finally goes off, you're going to get huge numbers out of it. But dual wielding, far as getting that macro off faster with the 5 stacks, it's going to go off way sooner than your two-handed. Alright, basic talents. Alright, I'm taking the 10 yards increased on Howling Blast. I mean, this is basically pretty standard build. Extra 30 runic power, increased obliterate damage, Lichborn, which is basically you can heal yourself with it, or remove a fear or charm effect. That's your movement impairing. It reduces all the slows by 30%. Increase speed by 20% when on a mount. This is kind of one of those things you could either reference. You could either get 1 point in this or do the full 2. The other place you'd want to put your extra point is down here, and gives your obliterate a 15% chance to make your Howling Blast or Icy Touch cost no runic. Endless Winter makes your Mind Freeze cost no runic power, which is a must. I mean, you can't really do without that. You're gonna miss an interrupt, a critical interrupt most of the time. This is basically Frost Strike and Obliterate do 12% more damage on targets less than 35%. This is really good with trying to finish somebody off in arena. Chains of Ice, Howling Blast, Obliterate generate 10 more additional runic power. This will normally help you get off an extra Frost Strike most of the time in your rotation. Killing Machine, Standard, Pillar Frost, your 20% strength cooldown that is in that macro. Improved Icy Talons, that's basically a buff that increases your haste of all party members. This is a strength increase modifier, increases the physical damage taken on your target. Chillbane Plains, 50% movement reduction when the target has frost fever disease, which if you're glyphed right, your Howling Blast will give the target frost fever. So anybody that gets Howling Blasted is going to have that 50% reduction. Hungry and Cold, this is really, you know, sometimes you get it off, but I mean, you really don't have any choice, you have to take it. And then you have your talent, of course, for your two-handed and Howling Blast. Alright, on the Unholy side, you have Unholy Command, which is going to reduce the global cooldown of your Death Grip and reset it if it doesn't go off. Increase damage done by your diseases, and Desecration, which basically, say you're going on a plate healer like a paladin, you're going to be stacking necro strikes. This is basically going to make a big cone on the ground, slow your target. I mean, most of you, if you're watching this, you're very familiar with this stuff. The one talent, really, this is one of your two only options that you can change in this cookie cutter build that everybody is using, is your Pale Horse, the 1 point there. But here, it depends on the comp you're running, and if you're doing rated BGs, you can take the 3 points in Blade Barrier, reducing your damage when your runes are on cooldown by 6%. Some, don't like that. I mean, 6%, that's not a lot. But every little bit does help, on the other hand. So you can either take the damage you're getting from the armor value that gives you attack power, or you can take the Blade Barrier. So it's kind of a personal preference. Glyphs, pretty much standard Death Knight glyphs. Just like I said, Death Knight right now is really cookie cutter, coming, from talent trees. I mean, you have 2 to 3 points that you can change, which is ridiculous. There's no variation between good DKs out there. Everybody has the same build, and that's basically why I'm a little frustrated with WoW lately. That and the MMR point system in arenas is just garbage. But yeah, so you're basically going to get your Howling Blast, Frost Fever, standard. Hungry and Cold costs no runic. You could change this up, but not really. There's nothing really better to use there. And they gave us this, where is it?
I can't do that yet.
Alright, here we're full runic. So basically, one click, pops Lichborn. It healed me one time. But all I have to do is continue to click the macro, and it's going to continue to heal me during the duration of that buff. So it's still healing me 13k. So I find that really easy, so you just have to double tap that to get heals. It's really nice. And I think that's basically going to do it for Death Knight. It's very simple right now, very cookie cutter. They do a lot of damage if you're, I mean, like I said, I'm stacking almost all resilience and reforging mastery, and I'm still doing, a ton of damage to targets. So Death Knight's damage right now, I would say, is excellent, but survivability and not being cookie cutter is just horrible. I mean, you have no survivability. That's why you have to stack this resilience. But far as against casters, I would say we're pretty good right now. But as far as melee, we're just trash. You can get wrecked on with any person with equivalent gear of mine. Will wreck me every time. It doesn't matter how much damage I can put out. But that's it. I just wanted to talk to you guys for a few minutes, give you some basic rundown on my my talents, how I forge. I know that a lot of you know this information, but I've been getting a lot of questions, and wanted to do a little Q&A and give you some feedback on how my gear is set up. Cypher.